Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we today? Thursday. Wow. Moving through the week. How you feeling out there? Don't be shy. Let me know in the comments. I really want to know how you're feeling. I don't just ask it haphazardly for no reason whatsoever, right? So how we doing out there today? Well, I said that already. You'll let me know if you want to let me know. If it's very private to you, I understand. Maybe you don't want to say you feel good. Maybe you don't want to say you feel horribly. Whatever you're feeling, it's okay, because that's just all part of the process of this beautiful life that we're living each and every day, ladies and gentlemen. And remember how important it is for us to be aware of that and know that we are the creators of our life, and we can choose how we like to choose. We can choose whatever we like to align with on how we want to feel and what we want to make our day-to-day life be, which is a beautiful thing. It's really empowering to know that, right? Just to say, I kind of say it kind of as I don't say it as a joke, I say it all the time, like in a fun way, but I mean, it really is the truth. I mean, just if you really kind of just take a step back and think about how empowering it is to know that you have the power within yourself to create the life around you based on, your own intuition and your own inner guidance and such, without having to be subject to all the nonsense that's going on in the world out there that makes us feel so, feel heavy and down, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't want to know, right? So we don't have to be like that. We could be happy and do like I do. Ba-da! We're having a good time on Operation Status Quo, yo. Hey-o. That's right. And this is Operation Status Quo. I am Pete Palma. I am your user-friendly host. Thanks for being with me here today. I appreciate your time, as I always do. This is the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, yo, because that's the only way to go. So let me know what you're doing out there to create your own flow of quo each day. Don't be afraid to drop it down in the comments and let me know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is the 11th of January in the good year 2024, and today's program is entitled Mind Your Manners. Yes, I haven't done it in a while, since actually this is the first time of 2024 that I've gone to one of these list that I come across on the mainstream apparatus, as it were. It's funny how they put stuff out there, as far as human behavior and, what's acceptable, not acceptable, and, all these different little things that they do. It's I find it to be an interesting observation. That's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. We're just observers. We're observers of ourselves. We're observers of the world. And, we find our way to mitigate. It's funny, all the parameters we put around, social behaviors and what's right or wrong, good or bad, what means you're a nice person, what means you're not a nice person, and all this type of stuff. But, definitely as time goes on in our lives, right? I mean, for those of us that are older, you could think back to years when you were younger and you see how much the world has changed, and maybe some of the normal social kind of, idiosyncrasies or whatnot, that you would say that used to take place don't necessarily take place as much anymore. The world is always in flux and changing. Society is always changing and growing out of old patterns into new patterns, and sometimes for the good and sometimes, for the bad in certain ways, but again, that's if we're making labels of good and bad, which really doesn't exist anyway. But, within the realm of speaking of it in that capacity, if you're older, you might think of things that seemed more wholesome, when you were younger, in a simpler way of things compared to, older. But it's all relative and perspective, because people that are being born now or very young now, by the time they get to be like 60, 70, they're going to look back, oh, I remember the good old days, when we used to just sit on our phone and scroll all day long. I mean, it'll be a whole nother, it was simpler times when we just, kind of chastised one another on Facebook and Instagram. It would be a different way of looking at things, right? But anyway, what I have here today is a list of some behaviors, I guess, some rules, some manners that nobody really bothers with anymore. And, we're trying to see if we've lost touch with our humanity a little bit in some of these regards. So we're going to go through some of these behaviors that are considered to be polite and nice manners that don't seem to take place as much anymore. And, you can decide where we are. And I would appreciate it if you, stay with me on this one and, drop comments and let me know what you think about these behaviors that we're expressing, and whether they're still relevant or not, or should or shouldn't be, or what you think of them, right? That's the fun of it. That's what we're doing here on Operation Status Quo. It's a place for us to jive. We're jiving together and having a good time. That's what we do. All right, so let's say the first one here on the list is your party, you pay. Okay, so unless the invite explicitly says otherwise, if you host a party, you're the one who should be paying. That makes sense to me. Like, I would never invite people over or host a party and then expect people are going to have to pay for it, right? If you're inviting someone, you're even like if you invite somebody to dinner, right? If like, I'd like to take you to dinner, you're not expecting that they're going to, pay for the meal, right? Same thing with a party. You're throwing a party for yourself. I've seen a lot of times people throw like a party for themselves for their 60th birthday or something like that. And, if I ever did something like that, I would tell people, not only are you not paying, please do not bring gifts. I mean, how horrible is it that you try to throw a party for yourself and then you expect people to bring gifts too? I know people do, but it's not like impolite to do so. But at the same time, I would never want to put that pressure on somebody that if I'm creating an event to bring people together, that they have to put money out for it. But it does say these days, some people are receiving electronic requests for money to cover their share after a dinner party or some other get together. That's crazy. But it says insanity, or they're saying it's insanity. Okay, it's perfectly acceptable to let the host know that when you are invited, you do not expect to have to pay for your attendance. So I guess you could say that to the host. And listen, I appreciate the invite, but I want you to know I'm not paying anything. It shouldn't even be something that you would think of. Can you imagine you go to a party and then you get a bill for it later? It'd be so crazy. So have you experienced that? Have you gone out with people? Have you been invited to a party that someone's hosting and then they kind of write up a tab for you on the way out the door like you're at a restaurant? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Respecting everyone, okay? Respecting everyone seems to be something that has fallen by the wayside a bit here in our current times. It used to be a given. You respect your elders, no matter how cranky that old neighbor might actually be. But however, these days, not only are the elderly often disrespected, but so are those in the service industries, the immigrants, and just plain strangers. So let's bring back some kindness and compassion. So respect is, I don't even know if that should be on a list of behaviors or manners that, have fallen by the wayside or, that people have forgotten. That's really just more of a sign of the times of how, crazy and detached our world has gotten, and all the immediate gratification that people want all the time in their own life, that they don't have the time to, reflect and think about how their actions and what they're doing in their day, affects other people. Common courtesy, respect towards your fellow human being is, it's like one of those unspoken rules. Like aren't you just kind of born with an innate knowing to actually be nice to other people, but apparently we are losing respect for everyone. So not even the elderly anymore. You kick that old coot down the road. Get out of here, you old coot. I don't give a crap about what you have to say. All right. Anyway, using personal titles is another one. It's jarring when a young bank teller you've never seen before says, "Anything else, Mary? What happened to Miss or Mrs. or whatever?" Right? Today's overly familiar way of life leaves a lot of people smarting. I don't know what a lot of people smarting. I guess it means it hurts, right? A lot of people smarting when they are called by their first name without permission. I'll say on this one, it doesn't bother me overall so much. Like, call me by my first name. If I went into a bank and the bank teller knows my name, because it's, I'm making a deposit or whatever I'm doing, they go, Pete, I get it. Most people do say Mr. Mr. Palma or sir or something like that. I would say sir probably, or ma'am, but, nowadays these kids are just like, "Hey, what's up, Joey? What do you want? You want to put some money in the bank?" So we should be a little bit more, in a professional atmosphere, I guess. I'm not much for all that, professionalism and not like, I get it, and I don't mean it in a way that we should just be, haphazard all over the place and like super informal. But I think we just put a lot of pressure on ourselves in our world, the way it is to be this kind of formal persona way. I guess I would say it like this. In the context of showing respect, like the last one, you greet a person in a business environment. Even though I don't believe in business environments that way, but it is what it is. It's part of our world. You greet someone with the Mr. or the Miss or the sir or the ma'am or whatever. And if that person says, oh, please call me Pete or call me whatever, you can call me anything, don't call me Al. Remember that song? Anyway, sorry, my brain goes in that direction sometimes. And then if that person shows that they're open for a less formal way of being, then you can go that way. All right. Now here's another one on the list. This is a good one. I didn't realize that this one was lacking in its usage, but apparently it is. Opening the car door for a lady. So your date opens the car door for you before going around to his. Well, they say his side, right? Of course, his side. The gentleman opens the door for the lady because we don't know what we're dealing with nowadays, so you really don't know. I guess if you go on a date nowadays, you have to check to see who has the penis. If both people have penises, then I guess they can open, you go around, open the door for the one person, and the other person comes around and opens the door for you, and then you both get in the car. But apparently they're saying, yes, kids, this used to happen in the same way when a couple would walk down the sidewalk. The man would always walk on the side nearer to the road to protect his companion. But that was the good old days when chivalry was not the exception. So I still, I can't say that I date very often because the pickings are slim out there. I'd like to find a nice lady that actually is not like, one of these mainstream type people that's all about money and things and doing and, not just enjoying life. I'm sure they're out there. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. But and if it does, I'd be happy to open the door for her. Quite honestly, the way today's world is, I would think that, with all this empowerment and women wanting to be equal to men and women are men and they'd probably be pissed off that you open the door. What are you thinking? I'm some weak female? I can't open the door for myself. You know what I'm saying? But personally, I find it to be a polite thing to do. I even do it like, if I go out with my mother or something, I go around to open the door for her before she gets in the car. I used to do it for my grandmother. I've done it. Used to do it with my ex-wife. I did it with every lady in my life because I think it's just a gentlemanly and polite thing to do. To be nice to the ladies, right? You should be nice to the ladies. Let's be nice to the ladies, for God's sake. All right, let's see. This one says the proper response. When you say thank you to most anyone in a store these days, especially millennials, they reply inevitably, it's no problem. And they're saying that this particular person putting this list together, it boils their blood. No, the correct response is, you're welcome, even better, my pleasure. I don't think that's a big one. I mean, I say no problem a lot of times. What's the problem? It's no problem. It's like, hey, thank you, I really appreciate it. No problem, I'm happy to help. A lot of times it comes down to, the context in which things are said. If somebody's like aloof and like doesn't give a shit, right? I just mean, it doesn't matter where they say you're welcome or what was the other one they said? My pleasure. You're welcome, my pleasure. It doesn't matter if you say it half-ass, right? It doesn't matter what you say. If you are genuinely like, oh no, I'm happy to help, no problem. I say no problem a lot, so I don't know why that's such a negative one, but it's on the list. I mean, this is mainstream media, so we have to go by what they say. A proper thank you, making the time to write yes. Making the time to write with pen and paper and a stamped envelope, a thank you note or greeting card has sadly become a lost art. Text, emails, and e-cards have made snail mail greetings a thing of the past for far too many. This one, too, I would say is more of a sign of the times. If listen, our technology is different today, right? Somebody does something nice for you, you want to send them a text and genuinely thank them. You can send a real nice text. Hey, I really appreciate what you did. I just want to take the time to say thank you. And if I can ever help you with anything, please let me know. What's the difference whether you do that through a text, an email, or, I know, it shows you took the time to write a note, but I mean, if you're sitting down writing an email, I mean, it's the same thing. You're just doing it on a computer instead of on a piece of paper. And you're saving yourself, though. How much is it now for a stamp? I haven't used stamps in a long time, but whatever it is, you're saving yourself that 40 cents or whatever the hell it is for a stamp. So this one, again, seems to be a little bit uptight. Let's kind of loosen up a little bit, So far, the respecting is number one on what I've seen so far. Dressing appropriately. Yes, I mean, we can see today that people here today don't dress as appropriately as they should. I mean, I know even going into church and stuff, who comes with their shorts or, jeans. I mean, I guess jeans aren't horrible, but people used to get dressed up for more, used to be a bigger deal. Like way back in the day, Atlantic City, New Jersey, you know, in my grandmother's day, when they were young, they would get dressed up to go down to Atlantic City. It was a big deal, you know, not like, you know, the trash that's all over the boardwalk today. So, just like, what's that Fetterman, right? Is that his name? Fetterman, the congressperson or whatever the frig. Is he Congress or a senator? Oh, he's a Congress, right? I don't know, whatever the frig he is. And, you know, he's always dressed in sweats and everything because, I don't know, he's uncomfortable and clothes. I am totally not for the shirt and tie thing. Like, I just don't like it, and it's uncomfortable. And, you know, but there are situations where, unfortunately, I mean, we are living in a world here, like George Costanza would say, we're living in a society here. You know, we are living in a society, and sometimes it just, you know, it is what it is. Like, you know, if you have to go to a funeral or something, you know, I guess, you know, you put the shirt and tie on, but, you know, I don't know. So people do dress inappropriately in situations. I mean, especially, I feel badly, quite honestly, for, you know, the young ladies today, because, you know, they all just want to be like, you know, porn stars and, you know, get some guy to give them money for sex all the time. And, you know, thinking that they're just so hot that they don't have to do anything, right? This is why I don't date, you know, they just think that because they have a coochie, that they can do whatever they want and they own the world. It's like, you know, you're not going to trap me with that thing. Okay. I've been around a little bit. So, you know, they just dress like, you know, half a hoe bag and think that, you know, they can do whatever they want because they got a cute little butt and some boobs or something. But, you know, and quite honestly, over time, that shit starts to fade. And, you know, every cooch turns out to be the same down the line. So, you know, oh my God. All right. Remembering to RSVP. Yes. You know, the courtesy of a reply is requested and expected. Too many hosts and hostesses find themselves overbuying because they're not sure exactly how many guests to expect. So, you know, if you're invited to something and they're asking for the RSVP, it doesn't hurt to, you know, just say yay or nay so they know what's going on. They were kind enough to invite you. I guess that would be polite. But on the other hand, you know, if I did a party with an RSVP and people didn't respond, then I would say, okay, if you didn't respond, then I'm not buying anything to, you know, for you to be there, right? If you show up, then I would be like, well, I'm sorry, you can hang out, but you can't eat, you can't drink because you didn't RSVP and you're not included in the tally for what's here. So, you know, you just kind of have to do it. You have to do it like that. You have to put people in their place once in a while, ladies and gentlemen. Table talk. Let's see. So you're at a table of, say, 3 couples. The server may need to make 2 trips to bring out everyone's entrees. Wait, what? You are already 3 bites into your lasagna before the whole table is served. Not cool or polite. Etiquette notes that you don't eat until everyone at the table has their food in front of them. And when you do eat, please use the proper utensils. I guess that should be another one on the list. And people don't know that, you know, we do have utensils. You don't have to dig your hands into your lasagna and shove it in your face. You can just use the utensils on the table. I will agree with this, though. I mean, I have done this, you know, multiple times. You know, you wait till everyone sits down and has their meal. You know, it's just a polite kind of thing to do. Sometimes people say, no, go ahead, you know, but they're thinking like, look at that son of a bitch, just sitting there enjoying his burger. I'm sitting here like a schlep, still sipping on my water. I didn't even get my drink yet. So, okay. I'm sorry. I just got a text message. I'm going to have to interrupt this real quickly. I just got a text message. You know, I had up in New Jersey when I had bought my last car, you know, it was at a Kia dealership, you know, and anyway, long story short, they keep sending me texts, you know, and calls and emails, you know, about, you know, want to buy a new car. Now, I've called this place twice and say, I live in Florida now. I'm not interested in buying a Kia. You know, please take me off your mailing list. And I just got a damn text again, and I am going to make a project out of that right after we get done this show. Now, I'm not going to make a project out of it. Obviously, they can't handle a simple task. That's just the way of the world today. We should probably put that on the list. Here's a polite thing. When someone requests that you stop calling them, stop calling them. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, here we go. Hats off. Yes. When there was a time when most gentlemen wore hats, which they removed once inside. Today, most caps, fedoras, and cowboy hats stay well in place on a man's head, inside or out. So yes, you are supposed to remove your hat when you walk into a home or something like that. You know, you have your hat on, but you know it shows proper courtesy and respect to take the hat off. I know maybe younger generation doesn't even know that anymore. So, but here's another one about the ladies. Stand up for the ladies. is a woman at the table gets up to use the ladies' room, so the men stand up as a sign of respect. Yes, that's the way it used to be, and men also stood to greet a newcomer to the table as well. So yeah, it is a polite thing to do. I can't say that I've seen that so much in my life as, maybe, the generations before me was a little more that, when a woman got up, everybody, got up. But, for me, I would always get up. Like if somebody is approaching to say hello and I'm sitting down, I would stand up, to shake somebody's hand just to show proper courtesy. But, you listen, if you got to get up every time somebody's going to the bathroom, I mean, what if this woman has a bladder problem, for God's sake, and she's peeing every 15 minutes? I mean, it gets a little cumbersome after a while. And then you got 2 or 3 of them at the table and all this is going on is kind of cumbersome as well. Let's see what else we have here. Following road rules. Common courtesy on the road can be hard to find. People turn without signaling, alternately giving a very clear signal, blah, blah, blah. Some drivers are too hurried to wait for the car in front of them to turn, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we know what goes on the road out there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if there was ever good etiquette on the road. I mean, back in the days when cars first kind of started, not for anything, they didn't go very fast, so you probably can just jog right past it. But turn signals are a big thing for me. I don't understand why people just don't put their turn signal on. Like, they'll just blatantly turn in front of you and you got to kind of brake a little bit because you didn't know they were going to stop. It's like, will it kill you just to put your turn signal on? I put turn signals on all the time, even if I'm, whatchamacallit, no one else is behind me or anything. It's just a force of habit, and I just feel it's a safe and courteous thing to do. Let's see what else we have. After you, this one says, after you. Lost count of the times. I don't understand the way they write these things. It doesn't flow, lost count of the times a door has closed on you. Have you? It should sometimes say, have you lost count of the times a door has closed in front of you? Holding the door for a person behind you, or letting someone exit from a bus, elevator, or even a shop before you rush in is another one of those everyday gestures that displays civility. I'll agree with this 100% because I think it's one of the most rudest things when people do not hold the door or just look behind. Every time I go into any place, I always look behind me, to see if anybody's coming, so that I can hold the door for them, or maybe step aside and let them in ahead of me, which I do most of the time. Even on the way out of any place that I go, I always, look behind me to see if somebody's coming out so I can open the door for them, or if somebody's coming in while I'm coming out, sometimes I'll step to the side and kind of push the door open and let them come in before I go out. I mean, I can't tell you when it happens to me, it really does grate me out. I have to be honest, that I'll be walking up into a place and then here's a person walking in front of me, and they're, in their own little world doing whatever. And then I just come up and the door just starts to close in front of me and they didn't even look. And I'm like, okay, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. You know what I mean? Would have killed you to wait a second and hold the door. But that's what we're doing nowadays in this world. Everybody's in a rush and it's all about me. So we can't hold the door. Achoo is the next one. Achoo, as in a sneeze, ladies and gentlemen. It's a free for all some days. You sit next to someone having a coughing fit and they don't cover their mouth, or they emit a wildly dramatic sneeze into the air. Oh my God. Now I'm going to have to get mad at this because this is mainstream stuff that we're looking at, right? And it says here, masks have provided protection from these offensive behaviors of late. No, let's not talk about the masks, okay? Unless you really want to make me irate. And this is a place of love and joy. And we know better than to mask up and give away our sovereign selves as entities, our sovereign selves, to the mask. Please, ladies and gentlemen, that's one of the main things that really sent me over the edge during the fake pandemic. But anyway, in the workplace, staying home when under the weather allows you respect, blah, 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 blah. I thought this was going to talk about more. This is saying people are rude, that they just sneeze or they cough or something. I thought this was going to say that you should be polite and say God bless you when someone sneezes. It's such a trigger for me to say God bless you when someone sneezes. I don't care where I am. I go for my walks and it's happened multiple times. Somebody across the street or, in their backyard or something, they sneeze and I'll go, God bless you. They're looking around like, who, what? It's just like I feel so badly if someone sneezes and I don't take the time to say God bless you. But, listen, we all sneeze and cough at times. It's not, it's not like a brain surgery to cover your mouth and say, excuse me, or something like that. I mean, you can sneeze into your hands. Just don't wipe yourself on the other person's shirt. But anyway, don't wear a mask. Whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, don't wear a mask. All right, let's see here. Space it out. This one's talking about taking up 2 seats on the train or taking up 2 lanes, when you're parking, that type of thing. So you ever see that when people do that? Like they have come in with their fancy car and they park across 2 parking spots. I'm going to tell you a story. This is a funny story. When I was young, I was such a bastard. I was such a bastard when I was young. But I was working in a grocery store. I was probably about 16, right? And this person who was not handicapped parked in a handicap spot. And I was outside collecting carts, bringing the carts back up. So I literally just took the carts and just totally surrounded this person's car with the carts. I'm like, look at this SOB parking in the handicap spot, and they're not handicapped, So I totally surrounded the car with carts. And then the person came in irate, back into the store when they left, and my car, they showed a manager, and I said, I don't know what I don't know what happened. I didn't see anything, but it is a jerky thing to do to park in the handicap spot. I know a lot of times people think it's no big deal. I'm running in for a quick minute or something, but if you're one of those people that really needs that space, I mean, and our society is just so lazy. Like, what is it to walk a couple freaking steps, man? I always generally, when I go any place, I usually park towards the back of the parking lot. I don't want to be involved in the front of the parking lot because everybody's I've seen it so many times where I pull into a parking lot and then I park in the back and walk in, and while I'm walking into the store, the person who was ahead of me is still trying to find a space in the first 5 feet. Just freaking park the car and walk. It won't kill you, and keep out of those damn handicap spots, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else. I'm trying to see. There's a bunch of these on here, and I don't want to drag this out, right? Let's see here. Calling on courtesy. We could do an entire piece on phone etiquette, but we'll leave it to a few points. Not talking on your cell phone at the dinner table, not yelling or shrieking when catching up with someone in public, taking selfies that infringe on other people's space, and worse, posting things on social media without permission of those featured. Yes, phones can cause a lot of issues. So we do have the phones now. It's part of our life, and I guess the unfortunate part of it is, for those that are younger that have come up with the phones, it's a whole nother way of looking at it, right? It's like you're not, you weren't brought up with, you didn't have phones, right? So you just always have phones. So you never really learned that space of, put the phone down and away, it was always just kind of like a part of your life from the very beginning. But I'm not one to do any of these things. Honestly, if I go out with people, I'll have my cell phone, a lot of times, be honest, sometimes I leave the phone in the car, depending what's going on. So I don't always just carry it everywhere I go. But if I'm going to a restaurant inside, I'll probably take the phone with me. If it doesn't stay in my pocket, sometimes if it's not convenient to keep it in my pocket, I'll put it on the table, but it's always, as you can see here, face down. So I don't see it. I'm not distracted by it. I'm not looking while I'm talking to somebody at the table, looking every 2 seconds to see if I got a text or, if somebody tickled my ass on Facebook or something, So, and especially the people who talk loudly. I see this too, when I go to my pool is a good example. People are on the phone and they're just kind of walking around going, ah, la, 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 la. It's like a public place here. People, I'm there for a swim, nice and quiet. I get it. You want to talk? I get it. Maybe step aside, maybe walk off to the side, or whisper a little bit. Just be courteous. And the thing is too, how about the people who put their shit on speakerphone, when they're out in public, so everybody can hear everything. We all want to know what you're doing and what your day's all about, right? So all right, let's see here. Barking mad. How about some pets? Let's throw pets into the mix here. Pets are great. It says it right here. Pets are great, so we can't deny that. But not everyone is into the opinion that they belong by your side no matter where you go. Back in the day, no one would ever have thought of bringing his or her dog to a restaurant where blah, 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 blah. But so what are they saying here? Think of who you sit next to and keep your dog where it belongs. Now, I will say this because, being here in Florida, it's a different thing. People bring their pets into the everywhere, and especially when I was over living in St. Pete, all the restaurants, you go walk around, especially down at the beach, people come into the beach restaurants and they got their dog. People take their dog into the grocery stores. People got their dog everywhere they go. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Dogs are. I mean, they're just saying, the dog could possibly, sneak food off the table or something at a restaurant. I mean, who cares? You know what I'm saying? It's a dog. They're not, unless it's diseased and rabid, like foam coming out of the mouth or something. Come on, you guys. Let's not be too uptight about that. If you're going to a fancy place, I guess, obviously a formal dinner, I guess you're not, unless you're going to put a little tux on the dog, you probably don't bring the dog. But, some people, like to bring the dogs wherever they go, especially, not for anything. We got a lot of people with the, that they're stress management, so they have to have the dog for that. All right, we got a couple more here. Oh, how about in the movies? People are in the back, in the land of the big screen. Once again, it's tempting to think that you're still at home watching Netflix, but remember, you are definitely not. This means no yelling at the screen, talking loudly to your companion, or gasp, texting or talking on a cell phone. Yeah, so please, people in the movies, I've had that experience where people are just jibber jabbering in the movies, and it's just like, I think I've almost gotten into a couple fisticuffs back in the old days, of people being rude in the movies. You're going to a movie, you sit, you watch the movie. I mean, sometimes the audience reacts, right? Something happens, everybody goes, laughs together, or but you can't be like yelling at the screen. No, don't go in there. Don't go in there. You don't do that at the movies. Let's see here. How about personal comments? We got just a few more. I'm just going to keep going since we just got a couple more. Personal comments. Let's see. Saying something like, wow, you got your hair cut. That's never a great thing to hear. Comments about someone's personal appearance used to be looked down upon. These days, there are no rules. Are you going to have kids soon? Is your husband's job giving raises? Does your son have a girlfriend? People constantly invade privacy, judge others and such, and put people down. Sure, there always have been things people think or want to know, but there was a time that you weren't confronted with such intrusive questions or comments. So I don't know about the getting your hair cut one. Like, oh, you got your hair cut. I mean, it's just an observation. Oh, I see you got your hair cut. It looks nice. I don't think that has to be a bad thing, but, maybe saying, does your son have a girlfriend? Your son, my husband and I, we kind of thought your son was gay. Does he have a girlfriend, or is he gay? I don't know. I don't think some asking certain questions. It really depends on your level of comfortability with the person you're talking to, right? If you're friends and know that you can have an open conversation and ask a little more personal questions, you could. I mean, I know people who have had like a sick parent or something, and I go, oh, I was just wondering, how's your mother feeling? How's things going? I mean, is that intrusive, or doesn't that show you care? I mean, I think it's a little bit. You got to go. A little bit with this one here, because it seems like, we can't just totally say we don't want to communicate with somebody and show that we are interested in their life, right? Just don't want to be intrusive and rude about it. That's all. Respecting differences. Let's say, like, saying stuff to people. What is that you're eating? Why do you wear that? How do you come to do it that way? As the world becomes more multicultural, we are exposed to more cultures and customs. Don't assume your ways and traditions are best. Find out what makes other people tick, blah, 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 and appreciate them, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should. I mean, I think it's a nice thing when you see a different culture or somebody doing something in a different way. Be like, oh, that's interesting. I've never done that way. What, can you tell me more about it? Like, again, it's all about how things are approached and said to people, not like, just has to be, you just don't ask any kind of question, It's like, oh, I've never seen someone eat cockroaches before. Is that normal in your culture? It's like, no, we're just poor. So that's what the government told us to do, eat bugs and worms. So that's what we're doing. But you do respecting differences. So respect people's differences. So it goes back to respect. That was number 2 on the list. That's the most important one of anything we have. Be on time. That's one here. We got one more. We got 2 more. One more. To be on time. I don't have to get into the details of that. I mean, it obviously just shows respect to be on time. No, that was the last one. Be on time. And be on time. And I'm on time to finish that list, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! I went over my half hour today. I try to keep it about a half hour, but sometimes, we just go off on tangents, and that's what happens. Heyo. So how do you rate on there? What do you think about those items? Have we lost touch with our basic manners and behaviors in society? You know what I'm saying? Could we do better? Are we doing okay? What do we need to do to fix it? What are you doing out there to live your best self? That's the most important thing, and that's what we thrive and strive to be here on Operation Status Quo. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time today, as I always do. It's a pleasure to have you here, and it's a pleasure to be here. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you out there individually as well as a group. God bless you. Mind your manners. And until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.
Is a boulevard of 10 short blocks.